InsideFoos Productions coverage of the 2015 Nebraska State Championships continues as we now bring you the open doubles final. Coming from the loser side, that's Joe Rhodes out of Kansas City in the forward position. His partner, also from the Kansas City area, that's Chris Valentine. On the left from Lincoln, Nebraska, Joe Hamilton. And out of Durango, Colorado, that's Jim Stevens at goal. Underway here in game number one. Rhodes puts it into play, and Hamilton, the other Joe, takes it away. Joe Hamilton now will look to advance it, and he does slowly to his three-rod. Hamilton will set it up looking to strike first here in game number one. Hamilton finds the hole to the far side, so Hamilton and Stevens come out with the opener here in this first game. Of course, Joe Rhodes, the national champion in open doubles this year, and taken away here again by Hamilton. Hamilton, the 2009 ITSF multi-table open doubles world champion with Robert Atha, and a former finalist in open doubles, as we've talked about, at the Tornado World Championships as well. This is Chris Valentine. Valentine sends that one up the table. Rhodes hustled after it, couldn't pick it up, and Joe does grab it on the 5. Knocked down here by Hamilton. And again, Hamilton there defensively. Joe not giving Joe the wall. That one up the table, dug out, almost grabbed by Rhodes. Nice attempt, and it's picked up here by Stevens. Jim Stevens, of course, a videographer and play-by-play commentator living in Durango, Colorado. That shot down the middle, just wide of the goal. Picked up by Valentine, who rolls to a stop. Hamilton helps him out. And Chris will put the ball back into play. Sends that one up the table. Caught with that middleman on the 3-rod by Rhodes. Joe, of course, with the big-time pull shot. Sets it up here. Stevens switches to the reverse. And then as he goes back to the standard, Rhodes times it nicely and hammers it down the middle. Nice choice there by Rhodes, who read the defense beautifully. It's 1-1, and Rhodes now moving back defensively to guard against the 3-rod of Joe Hamilton. Hamilton will tic-tac. Tried to come near side. You saw Rhodes show it to him, then take it away. 1-1 here in game number one. It's the open doubles final. And turned over here by Rhodes. Here goes Hamilton. Tic-tac. That slow tic-tac he likes to use. Tried again to come to the near side, thinking that Rhodes would jump out of the way. Joe did not, and Joe did not score it. That shot down the middle again, almost stolen by Hamilton. Rhodes will look to shoot the pull shot again. No, pull kick down the middle, blocked back towards the goal by the 5 of Hamilton. And Rhodes again in possession. Boy, Hamilton right now playing some solid defense against the 2-rod of Rhodes. That one to the short side, kept out by Stevens, and Jim able to pick it up off that back wall. Now into the tic-tac. He likes to pull kick from here. He'll also do the outside bank. Oh, there's a nice fake bank and a pass. Hamilton faked out himself by the fake towards that outside wall. Shot down the middle here by Rhodes. Stevens is there. Rebound comes back to Joe. Rhodes and Hamilton can't pick it up. Valentine does. He'll call timeout and bring Joe Rhodes back to the forward position. Joe Rhodes, of course, his father Kent Rhodes, a longtime player and promoter. Joe's been out on the Pro Tour for better than 20 years, since he was a teenager. Still tied at 1 here in game number one of the open doubles final. Joe Hamilton tried to pass through the lane. It's all about timing and tempo with Hamilton on that 5. He moves it back and forth slowly, then will explode to a hole, or occasionally go with something off speed. Looking to explode to a hole here from snake shot position. Try to come near side. There's Valentine with a block up into the air and off the table. So Chris has earned the right to put the ball back into play. Chris Valentine setting it up on that far side. Trying to bring it across with a pull kick. There's Rhodes to grab the rebound. Joe sets it up. See if he looks at that split hole again. Stevens switches, and Rhodes again waits for the switch and hammers it down the middle. It's not bad defense. It's just Rhodes exhibiting some great timing and speed. And Joe Rhodes makes the steal here. Rhodes will once again set up the pull shot. Tried to go out to that long hole. There's Stevens out there waiting for him, this time in a reverse defense, and Jim able to pick up the loose ball. Stevens will set it up in a pull shot series and bring it down the middle and stroke it home. It's 2-2. Jim was looking at that 5-row, waited for Joe to move, and then Stevens sent it where he wasn't. At least that's what we think Jim was thinking. And Stevens now has tied it up, but Rhodes will have an opportunity here to give his team the lead once again as he sets up the pull shot. Stevens showing predominantly the reverse, was out there. Rhodes did spray it wide. Stevens hammers that one down the middle towards the goal. Rebound comes back to Rhodes. And taken away here by Hamilton. Still tied at 2 here in game number 1. The open doubles final here at the 2015 Nebraska State Championships. Rhodes with a bounce pass. Nice save there by Stevens. Stevens not a huge scoring goalie. In fact, talking to Jim, he doesn't play a whole lot. He plays locally in Durango, but not out on tour very often, despite the fact that he probably attends more tournaments than anyone. And he's now got 2 here in this first game, as that one went off a man and in with a pull kick. Hamilton and Stevens up 3-2. Rhodes will get another chance here with his 5 as he looks to advance it to his 3-rod. That steep rush up, knocked away. Rebound grabbed here by Stevens. And Jim will call timeout.
That's the first one of the game, right? Yeah.
3-2 lead for Hamilton and Stevens, as Jim will put the ball back into play. Again, the pull shot series. Looking at that hard outside pass. He tries it. Hamilton jumped out of the way. That's 2 passes now that Stevens has thrown Hamilton that Joe just wasn't there. But this is the first time these two have ever played together. And it does take time sometimes to develop that on-table chemistry. Stolen away here by Rhodes. Quick shot to the long hole. Stevens is out there. Joe Rhodes opened up with a couple of splits, and then since then has not gone back to the split hole, although to Stevens' credit, he did make a defensive adjustment. Here's Jim once again. Brings that one across off a man and in, and we're going to give him that one. That's 3 here in the first game for Stevens. And it's 4-2. When you're aggressive, good things are going to happen. Sometimes those things happen off men or off walls inadvertently. But if you're aggressive, you'll find you're going to get results. And Hamilton, possession on the 5, will call timeout. Joe Hamilton and Jim Stevens leading 4-2 here in the opening game of the open doubles final, as Hamilton will put the ball back into play. Joe tried to go along the wall, blocked by the other Joe. Rhodes, this time along the wall, again exhibiting that nice timing. And bringing it across, timing that one as well. It's 1-0. Joe Hamilton, Jim Stevens need just 2 more games to claim the 2015 Nebraska State Open Doubles Championship as we open up game number 2 with a possession on the 3-rod of Joe Rhodes. And let's see if Joe has made the adjustment to the Stevens adjustment. Again, Stevens posting him up. Got a piece of it. If Joe's going to hit the long pull shot, apparently it's going to have to be a dead man, and this one's stolen away by Hamilton. Joe rocking, taking his time, and try to take it out to the far side. Valentine out there to knock it down. Pass attempt here by Chris. Does get through, but then gets away from Rhodes. I believe it's going to roll to a stop as Joe tries to pull it back in. Could not do so. So his partner, Chris Valentine, will put the ball back into play. No score here in the second game. Best 3 games out of 5. That one's sent up the table, and Stevens able to pick it up. Jim had 3 from goal in that first game. 1 clean, a couple of others that used their friends to get by. Stevens again, setting it up about 4 inches off that outside wall, taking his time. And again, the pass attempt goes just wide of Hamilton's man. However, when you do utilize the pass option, oftentimes you're going to end up clearing the zone anyway, so the percentages still stay with you to some degree. That one sent up and cleared by Valentine. Stevens able to pick it up. And come back with a pull kick. So Stevens opens up the scoring here in game number 2 as he brought it over once and then brought it over a second time with authority. And it's 1-0. So Stevens, we're going to give him credit for 4 of the 6 scored so far. Rhodes sets up the pull shot, trying to come down the middle, anticipating the switch to the standard. Instead, Stevens got out there to make the block in that reverse defense. Jim will again set up the pull shot, try to go to the short side, stolen away by Rhodes. Rhodes, a very good defensive forward. And he does find the hole down the middle here with just a bit of an angle on it. That's a nice pick by Joe, using what he had learned on that previous possession. Tied up at 1. Hamilton now will have an opportunity to give his team the lead once again. As he sets it up, trying to again take it to the far corner, taken away by Valentine. And that clearing effort there does get through, and it is grabbed by Valentine's partner, Joe Rhodes. Rhodes brushing it through that high lane. And Joe now will shoot for the lead. Again, tried to come down the middle with that same shot he used last time. Stevens made the adjustment, then makes the takeaway here. And an interesting battle between Rhodes and Stevens so far. Joe Rhodes has certainly had the more possessions on his 3-rod. But we are tied at 1 with Hamilton and Stevens leading 1-0. That pull kick off that inside wall picked up here by Hamilton. The Open Doubles Championship match here at the 2015 Nebraska State Championships. And now Hamilton into the tic-tac. First time he's used it against Valentine. Tried to go with that slingshot off the outside wall. Pass towards the near side. Ends up in the hands of Jim Stevens. Stevens out of Durango, Colorado. That's in the lower left-hand corner of the state of Colorado. Fires that pull shot on goal. Picked up here by Valentine. He fires a shot the other way. And Stevens with a rebound. Jim now looking to tic-tac. And the push shot blocked back into the goal by Rhodes, who is, as we said, a very good defensive forward. So Stevens gives one back, and it's now 2-1. Nice pass there along that near wall as Hamilton danced with it, then executed. And we'll set it up, hoping to execute a snake shot and tie this second game up at 2. Joe Hamilton walks it and strokes it home to the near side. Best shot of the match so far for Joe Hamilton. He enjoyed it as well. We're even at 2 here in game number 2. That high lane there knocked down by Hamilton, almost stolen away by Joe. Does come back to Rhodes, who tries to go along that inside wall. Again along the wall. Hamilton there to make the takeaway. Joe now will look to advance it. And he is able to catch it. He'll have an opportunity here to give his team the lead. Joe Hamilton. Tried to take it out to the far side. Valentine with a block, but Joe will get another opportunity here. Then that little flicking angle hits 3-2. Again, the timing. Joe Hamilton with such good timing, both on the 5 and the 3. It's pretty good defense here as he steals it away from Rhodes and can give his team a 2-goal lead. Hamilton tried to come near side off the post, up into the air and off the table. So Chris Valentine will put the ball back into play. 3-2 lead for Hamilton and Stevens here in game number 2. Stevens able to pick up the loose ball here. Jim with a pull shot. Rhodes with a switch in the block, and then provides a little help in putting the ball back into play as it rolled to a dead stop. Stevens again. Primary goal, of course, is to clear the zone, give your partner opportunities. That pull kick on goal taken away here by Valentine. Chris sends that one along the outside wall where it's dug out by Hamilton. Joe Hamilton tried to brush that one down, taken away by Rhodes. Still 3-2 here in the second. Joe's going to get another chance on his 3-rod. Hamilton had an opportunity to give his team a 4-2 4-2 lead. Instead, it's Rhodes again hitting the split hole. He has scored 4 during the match. 2 splits against a standard, 2 splits against a reverse defense shown by Stevens. And Hamilton able to get this one through.
Ready. Yeah.
For the lead, Joe Hamilton fires it home near side. It's 4-3. Hamilton and Stevens back on top here in game number 2. And Rhodes has his pass taken away by Hamilton. Joe along the wall. Nice fake getting Rhodes off of that wall on the far side. And now Hamilton will set it up looking for a second game win, and he gets it. As he fakes to the far side, fires it down the middle. Hamilton and Stevens now up 2-0. Third game underway. Rhodes and Valentine on the left, Hamilton and Stevens on the left, and a steal here by Hamilton. And quickly firing it home to the near corner is Joe. It's 1-0. Hamilton and Stevens just need one more game, and they're off to a good start here in game number 3. As Hamilton made the steal, made the score, and now here's Chris Valentine in possession of the ball. That one slices up the table, knocked down, kept out by Stevens. Jim looking at the tic-tac. Now we'll set up the pull shot in this situation. Probably a smart move. Stevens looking to pass. Blocked by Rhodes, but again, that pass does keep the defender honest. You have to overplay it, and that allows you to put shots on goal. Stevens does put a pull shot on the defensive goal of Chris Valentine, and Chris now picks up the rebound. And the pass along the outside wall. Joe Rhodes will look to tie it as Rhodes sets up the pull shot, trying to stroke the long. Stevens out there to make the block and take it away. Pull kick down the middle, blocked by Rhodes. Again, aggressive move there by Stevens. Stevens slowing it down a little more. Pass near side, again clearing the zone. That one banked off the inside wall towards the goal, picked up here by Stevens. Still 1-0 in favor of Hamilton and Stevens here in game number 3. That one up the table. Hamilton had a chance to grab it. It's Rhodes who ends up with it on his 5. And Joe's going to get another scoring opportunity here on his 3-rod as he sets up the pull shot and fires it down the middle. Everything has been down the middle so far.
Ready? Yeah.
For Joe Rhodes. 1-1 here in the third. Hamilton tried to brush it through the lane, picked up here by Valentine. Chris puts a pull kick up and then gets behind Stevens. It's 2-1. 2-1 lead for Rhodes and Valentine. And Hamilton's going to get a fortunate pickup here. Joe strokes it home near side. It's 2-2. 2-2 here in game number 3. A game that Joe Rhodes and Chris Valentine must have to keep their hopes alive. Joe fires home the long pull shot here. It's 3-2. Rhodes starting to heat up here. And that hesitation brushed down by Hamilton, who can tie it up at 3. Joe Hamilton also shooting the ball well. Both of them on streaks. For the first time in the match, we're going to get a switch as Stevens moves to forward. Rhodes able to pass it through, set it up against Hamilton, and rattle it home. So, Joe Rhodes, Chris Valentine getting back in this match as they are now up 4-3. Rhodes moving back defensively. Valentine to the forward position. Joe Hamilton again returning to the forward position. And that high lane, a la Ryan Moore, executed nicely as Hamilton now sets it up. And strokes it home. It's championship point for Joe Hamilton and Jim Stevens. Rhodes were able to brush this one through, and Joe can send it to a fourth game. As he sets up his pull shot. Tried to go down the middle, and Stevens eased out there, expecting it. Makes the block and takes it away. Championship point for Hamilton and Stevens. Shot down the middle by Jim. Blocked by the 5 of Rhodes. Stevens again sets it up. Tried to go to that short side. Goes wide to the left side of the goal, and Valentine will retrieve it and call timeout. Jim Stevens, Joe Hamilton, just a goal away from the 2015 Nebraska State Championships. And there you see Joe Rhodes now moving to goal in an offensive situation. And he'll put the ball back into play. Rhodes fires that pull shot down the table. Swept away nicely by Stevens. See what Jim's going to do. He shows you the tic-tac. Now sets up the pull shot. Takes his time. And strokes it home, and there it is. Joe Hamilton and Jim Stevens defeat Joe Rhodes and Chris Valentine to win the 2015 Nebraska State Open Doubles title.